Today, we are looking at 5 things you need to consider before you click that button to buy that stock, to buy those shares, ETFs, bonds, whatever that you want to buy, invest into. So, without wasting any time, the first thing that I would like to touch on is to invest in yourself. How do you do that? You invest in yourself, guys, through the information of which this channel is one of ways that you can do by keep on watching videos that I upload regarding stocks, regarding investing, reading books, or doing your research in developing yourself, in knowing what is investing all about. So one thing that I used to say is you cannot be able to win if you're playing the game without having knowledge or on what's the rules. How will you know if you score the goal? How you know if it's a foul? So it's very important to invest in yourself, to stress yourself out, to search so that you know what you actually doing, because there is a risk involved. And the thing about risk is that risk can be managed if you know how to, if you know what is the risk, if you know where the risk is. So that's the first thing that I would really emphasize. So the second thing that I think we need to understand before we click that button is the economic cycle, on how the economy goes in different phases. The first cycle that I would like to talk about is recovery, where we sort of like recovering from recession. So now everything is starting up. People are starting businesses because they're seeing that, okay, now we are sort of like maybe getting into a new industry. So in our case, we'll be saying like we're going to a fourth industrial revolution industry where everything is like going online, robotics, whatsoever. So we kind of like have that phase, which is like just to start. I'm a starter, and while we're going up, we sort of like reach a level which we call it's a prosperity. So now we are prospering, everything is going well. So that's another stage of the economic cycle. And the other stage that we have now, it's recession, where sort of like everything goes down. So while things are going down, so many people are losing money. So many people we're losing money on the money that we're investing. So our portfolios are going on the red. The other thing that we see in this economic cycle is the depression. So now we hit the bottom out. So the government has tried probably to save the economy by decreasing the interest rates and making the bonds to be attractive. So understanding the cycle is very important, because somehow you structure yourself in investing according to the stage that we are within the economic cycle. For example, if we are in the recovery phase, what assets should you be buying? If we are in the prosperity phase, what assets you should be buying, and so on. So when you sort of like position yourself and also mitigating the risk with regards to your portfolio, on depending on what you're holding on your portfolio. I mean, the third thing, guys, is to do your research in terms of the companies. See if the companies, the equities or companies that you buy the shares from, do they give dividends? Because it's very important that if you're investing into a company, you expect to get dividends. So the other thing that we have within shares are divided into different categories. One of those categories is you have your preferred shares, and you just have the normal shares. Preferred shares, it's actually you giving the company the money so that they can sort of like develop, so as your normal shares. But the preferred shares, they differ because the company will first pay you first the dividends. If you're holding preferred shares, I know that Capitec does have preferred shares and the normal shares. So if you hold both, so sort of like, which means on the preferred share side, you'll be paid first the dividends. Other factors that I want to touch on, having to know the knowledge in terms of diversifying your portfolio, because you don't want to be buying shares that are into one sector or one industry. For example, if you're buying shares that are straight into health industry. If any crisis hit the health industry, which means that your portfolio will be at risk. So if you see everything that I'm explaining here, guys, it's all about information. It's all about equipping yourself. It's all about knowing what is, and that will help you. Because so one of the other thing, what they say in general, your net asset value with regards to ETFs, they say in your shares, in your portfolio, I mean, it shouldn't exceed like 50%, which means in your portfolio, you shouldn't hold more than 50%. And you shouldn't hold more than, I think it's 30% in cash. So like, you do your research, you look at those values, and you structure yourself on how your portfolio should be. And for example, the other thing that I do personally is to, like, after having diversified my portfolio, then I look at, okay, these shares I'll be buying them regardless, or this ETF I'll keep on buying it every month, because sort of like I've done sort of like a research, and I've seen that, okay, as much as it is not its time now, but when the time for that stock comes, or when it becomes popular, so I'll be the first mover in terms of buying. That might be risky sometimes, but as I explained before, if you do your research, you will know how to control the risk. So for myself, guys, those are just general things that you need to consider before you click that button. Because sometimes we think that, okay, just because I have money to invest, therefore, which means I can put the money on the platform. When you put the money on the platform, now you're browsing all these companies, then you are confused what companies to buy. But overall, all these 5 things, it goes back to, what is your objective in investing? What do you want? Are you investing because you want to sort of like generate the income through the dividends on the stock that you hold, so that when you retire, you will use your portfolio as supplementing probably the money that you're getting from your retirement? So maybe that might be, or are you investing in so that you can be able to buy that house after like certain number of years? Or are you investing because you see that having, probably you're doing your family planning, that having a children, it sort of like increases your cost over time, so you're investing so that you're investing for your children, or you're investing for your children's education. So as you can see, we might have different goals, and these different goals, they lead to different timings in terms of how long do we need to invest. So obviously, if you're investing your dividends so that they can sort of like investing into the company so that they can give you dividends, and those dividends, they are reinvested to generate income in a long run. You see that that's sort of like, it's a long term focused investing. So once you have sort of like that clear goal, so now you know that, okay, now I know my destination, and you get the tools that you need to get there. So these are just few things that you need to put in mind. Please, if you need any explanation or more information, or in any other question that is relating to things that you need to be aware of before you invest, just drop the comment. I'll attend into it and see if we can answer all your questions. That's it for me. The name is Mpumelelo Dlamini. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to subscribe for more videos. I promised you that I'm going to make a video with regards to how to invest with the different economic cycles. So the video is coming up probably next week. Thank you. Keep safe. Much love.